Let us do some revision, my dear students. Yesterday we have studied about the various intermolecular forces, of attraction, like the van der Waals forces that contain the um, dipole-dipole interaction, dispersion forces, dipole-induced dipole interaction. We have studied about the we have studied about the hydrogen bonding, which is limited to nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine. Sometimes chlorine also shows hydrogen bonding. We have started studying about the thermal energy. My dear students, in the previous classes, you might have studied about kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is a type of energy which is responsible for the motion of particles. Same way, a very similar kind of energy that we are going to study here, that is what it is known as the thermal energy. So let us once again revise the definition of the thermal energy. Yesterday we have also studied about the repulsive forces. So when two molecules or two particles are brought near to each other, up to certain level, these repulsive forces do not come into play. But when the particles are being compressed, these particles, they come closer. As they come closer, the intermolecular distance or interatomic distances decreases. And as this intermolecular or interatomic distances decreases, my dear students, we simply come to know, or these forces of attraction, which are known as the these forces of repulsion, which are known as the repulsive forces, they come into play, and that is why we cannot compress the particles much. Let us study the definition of the thermal energy. Thermal energy is the energy of a body arising from the motion of its atoms or molecules. So when the atoms or molecules, they possess kinetic energy, they move. When they move, a different kind of energy comes into play. That is what it is known as the thermal energy. And thermal energy of a body arises due to the motions of the atoms or molecules of a matter. Thermal energy directly proportional to the temperature of substance. That means if you increase the temperature, thermal energy increases. If you decrease the temperature, thermal energy decreases. Thermal energy is the measure of average kinetic energy of the matter of particles. Please remember, thermal energy is the average of kinetic energy of the matter or the particle present into the body. Thermal energy is responsible for the movement of particles. Please remember that as kinetic energy, thermal energy is also responsible for the movement of particles. The movement of particles for which thermal energy is responsible, such movement of particle is called thermal motion. Please remember, you may be asked for the definition of thermal motion. So what could be the thermal motion? The movement of particle for which thermal energy is responsible. Such movement of particle is known as the thermal motion. Thermal energy tries to keep the molecule apart from each other. Thermal energy always tries to keep the molecule apart. It does not allow the molecule or particles or atoms to come closer. This thermal energy wants the particle to stay away, to stay far away from each other. And that is why, as the thermal energy increases, the intermolecular distance or interatomic distance increases. Three states of matters are the result of balance between the intermolecular forces and thermal energy of the molecules. Please remember, my dear students, that we have the various states of matter. These various states of matter are because of the balance between the intermolecular forces and thermal energy. Please remember that intermolecular forces brings the particles, brings the molecules, brings the atom closer to each other. They bring them closer. Whereas this thermal energy actually take those particles, take those molecules, takes those atoms away from each other. So this is how, my dear students, we truly understand about the uh, major difference between the particles which are known as the uh, sorry, this is how we truly understand about the two opposite factors that make the states of matter. These two opposite factors are thermal energy and intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces brings the particles or atoms or molecules closer, whereas this thermal energy of molecule brings those particles or molecules or atoms away from each other, far from each other. This is how, my dear students, we study about the various factors that causes the uh, three states of matter. Now, my dear students, we are going to study about the intermolecular forces versus thermal interaction. Intermolecular forces attracts atoms among the another and keep them closer. But thermal energy keeps the molecules apart. Thus, when thermal energy increases, we move from solid state to liquid state. And from liquid state to gaseous state. It is very obvious, my dear students, that as the intermolecular forces decreases, thermal energy increases, or in the other word, we can say that as thermal energy increases, motion of particle become faster. As the motion of particle become faster, we move from solid state to the liquid state to the gaseous state. So this is how we can understand the predominance of thermal energy. When thermal energy increases, we actually move from solid state to liquid state to gaseous state, because as the thermal energy increases, thermal energy try to make the particles, try to make the atoms, try to make the molecules away from each other, and that is why intermolecular forces decreases, intermolecular or interatomic distances increases, and we can move from the solid state to liquid state to gaseous state. Thermal energy can be reduced by reducing the temperature. Please remember that thermal energy depends upon temperature. So if you increase temperature, thermal energy increases. If you decrease temperature, thermal energy decreases. Thus, if we reduce temperature, intermolecular forces of attraction become more predominant. So as thermal energy is being decreased, intermolecular forces become more and more dominant. They comes into much more in the play. Thus, by decreasing thermal energy or temperature, we move from gas to liquid to solid. So now, when these intermolecular forces become predominant, that means if you decrease the thermal energy, the gases can be converted into liquids, and liquids can be converted to solid under the predominance of the intermolecular interactions. So as intermolecular force of attraction become dominant, we move as shown above. So as the intermolecular force of attraction become dominant, we move from gaseous state to liquid state and liquid state to the solid state, my dear students. It's quite simple to understand. But now we need to understand this thermal energy plays a very important role in the interconversion of states of matter. We can liquefy gases by decreasing the temperature and increasing the pressure. So if you want to liquefy the gases, if you want to convert the gases into liquids, we can do one thing. We can decrease the temperature. By decreasing the temperature, the gases can be liquefied. We can even increase the pressure so that the molecules or the particles of matter come closer and they can be converted from gaseous state to the liquid state. But remember, if we do both the things simultaneously, that means if we decrease the temperature and increase the pressure simultaneously, we will definitely get the gases to be liquefied very easily. But remember, my dear students, we cannot make gases into the liquids. We cannot liquefy the gases just only by increasing the pressure. So if we only increase the pressure and do not decrease the temperature, the gases cannot be liquefied. Now what is the reason that the gases cannot be liquefied only by increasing the pressure? The gases cannot be liquefied only by increasing the pressure because in gases the molecular interactions are weak. So the molecules do not cling together to make solid or liquid. Only by applying pressure. So when we apply pressure, we know that there is a certain distance where the pressure stops working and repulsive forces comes into play. So only if we apply the pressure, we cannot make the molecules or particles to come closer, to cling with each other, to join with each other, and they turn into the liquid state. But my dear students, when we decreases the temperature, actually the thermal energy is decreased. As the thermal energy decreases, the motion of the particle becomes slower. And when the motion of the particle becomes slower, they can be easily liquefied. So by keeping the motion of the particle very high, just only by applying the pressure, we cannot liquefy the gases. To liquefy the gases, it is necessary that the temperature of gases should be decreased, the thermal energy of the gases should be decreased, and that is how we can liquefy the gases. So I hope, my dear students, uh, you are uh, you have understood the concept. You have understood the concept of thermal energy. If you have anything to ask, you can ask, or we can move to the next topic. May I know what you can see on your screen, dear students? Hello, dear students, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is written on your screen?
The gaseous state.
Okay, so I have changed the screen share and now you can see the gaseous state. Do you have any doubt to ask about?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood the
No, sir.
idea of
Thermal energy.
thermal energy? Is there any doubt, my dear students?
No, sir.
No,
Sure?
sir.
No, sir.
Everybody
Yes.
understood it? You got it well? Okay. Then
Yes,
shall
sir.
we move to the gaseous state now? I would be happy if you can reply.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move to the gaseous state now. Let us have a look to the gaseous state. Let us study about the gaseous state. Now the first thing that we need to know about gaseous state is the gaseous state is the simplest state of matter. We remain immersed in the ocean of air throughout our life, which is a mixture of gases. You know, all around us we have gases, and these gases, we remain always immersed into the gases. We spend our life in the lowermost layer of the atmosphere called troposphere, which is held to the surface of Earth by the gravitation force. You might have studied about the layers of atmosphere. We generally live into the troposphere. The thin layer of atmosphere is vital to our life. You know, this thin layer of atmosphere is very much necessary. It is very much important or it is vital to our life. That is what we can easily understand, my dear students. The thin layer of atmosphere is vital to our life. It shields us from the harmful radiation and contains substances like dioxygen, dinitrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, etc. So there are so many gases available in the atmosphere, especially the troposphere, which we use for the different purposes. There are only 11 elements that exist in the gaseous state. You know, my dear students, that we have a huge number of elements in our periodic table. Out of those, there are only 11 elements present which are in the gaseous state. Those 11 elements are hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, oxygen. Can you tell me yourself, my dear students, the rest of the 7? What are those 7 other elements that can be utilized or that can be present into the gaseous state? Okay, let me tell you, they are fluorine, neon, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. So these are the various elements. These are the 11 elements which are present in the gaseous state in our period in the existence. Now, gaseous state is characterized by the following physical properties. So there are properties which belong to the gaseous state. Number 1, gases are highly compressible. You can apply the pressure, their volume decreases, thus gases are highly compressible. Gases exert pressure equally in all directions. So gases actually exert pressure equally in all directions. That we have studied into the ninth standard also, that the particles of gases are continuously moving. In moving, they collide with each other as well as they collide with the wall of the container. As they collide with the wall of the container, they applied force on the wall of the container. This force per unit area on the wall of the container is known as the pressure, and that is why gases exert pressure equally in all directions, or gases exert pressure on the wall of the container. Gases have much lower density than the solids and liquids. So the density of gases is generally less than the density of solids and liquids. The volume and the shape of gases are not fixed. These assume volume and shape of the container. So the volume and shape of gases are not fixed. Their volume and shape can be changed. They take the volume and shape of the container in which these gases are filled. Gases mix evenly and completely in all proportion without any mechanical aid. So if you make two gases to stay together in a same container, they mixes themselves. You need not to apply any pressure from outside. You need not to do any effort for gases to mix. These gases, they mix themselves on their own without any external effort. Simplicity of gases is due to the fact that forces of attraction between their molecules are negligible. Remember that the attractive forces among the particles of gases are negligible. They are like no force of attraction. The particles of gases are moving freely in all directions. Their behavior is governed by the same general laws which were discovered as a result of their experimental studies. So this behavior of gases is majorly understood by the various laws that we are going to study in the same chapter. These laws are derived from the various experimental studies. These laws are relationship between the measurable properties of gases. Some of these measurable properties of gases that we need to study are pressure, volume, temperature, and mass. Please remember, my dear students, that we can study the behavior of gas by measuring the properties of gases like pressure, volume, temperature, and mass. So this pressure, volume, temperature, and mass are very important because relationship between these variables describe the state of gas. Interdependence of this variable leads to the formula of gas laws. So these various gas laws are derived from those various properties of gases. Now, my dear students, we need to study about the states of gases. Gases can be expressed in the various states. The state of gas depends upon the state variables. Which are the state variables? Pressure P, volume V, temperature T are the state variables. Any of the above such variable changes, the state of gas changes. Let us try to understand this idea in a very different manner, my dear students. Please have a look to a picture that is present on your screen. You can see a particular picture present on your screen, my dear students. This picture,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to, I'm going to make a box around it for you. This is what I'm talking about, my dear students. You can see it easily without any problem. Yes? Now you can see
Yes, sir.
that gas is available in a state number 1 where the pressure is P1, volume is V1 and temperature is T1. Now suppose you change three variables, pressure, volume and temperature. All three are being changed. So gas turns into the pressure P2, volume V2 and temperature T2. This is called the state number 2. Now suppose you change only pressure. So the new state number 3 is P2, V1, T1. If you change only volume, then the state number 4 is obtained, which is P1, V2, T1. When you change the only temperature, the state number 5 is obtained where P1, V1 and T2 are the state variables for this particular gas. If you change both pressure and volume, then the state number 6 is obtained, which is known as the P2, V2 and T1. If you change pressure and temperature both, then the state number 7 is obtained, which is known as the P2, V1 and T2. If you change volume and temperature, then state number 8 can be obtained, where you have the state variables P1, V2 and T2. My dear students, all these 8 states of gases or the same gas are considered to be the different states. And this is how, my dear students, by using these state variables, we can explain the states of gases or states of matter. I hope, my dear students, the idea of states has become clear to you. If you want to ask anything, you can ask me, or we can move to the gas laws. Dear students, do you have anything to ask?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Then, my
No,
dear
sir.
students, let us move to the gas laws. The gas laws
Yes.
are the result of research carried out by several scientists for several centuries on the physical properties of gases. The first reliable measurement on properties of gases was made by Anglo-Irish scientist Robert Boyle. You can see on your screen the first attempt to study the behavior of gas and to derive a law was first attempted by the scientist named Robert Boyle. The law which he formulated is known as the Boyle's law. On the basis of his experiments, Robert Boyle reached to a conclusion that, let us read the conclusion which was given by Robert Boyle. At constant temperature, the pressure P of a fixed amount, that is the fixed number of moles of gas, varies inversely with volume. I'm repeating again. At constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas varies inversely with the volume. It simply says that pressure of a gas is inversely proportional to its volume if the temperature and number of moles of gases or the mass of gas is kept constant. So we can represent the same statement in the mathematical way that mathematically it can be written as P proportional to 1 upon V. Now we have to keep two values constant. We keep temperature constant and we keep number of moles constant. When we remove this proportional V constant, we can write that P is equal to K1 1 upon V. Here, this K1 is known as the proportionality constant. Now remember the important point, my dear students, that the value of constant K1 depends upon the amount of gas and temperature of the gas. Please remember, the value of constant K1 depends upon the amount of gas and temperature of gas and the unit in which the volume and the unit in which pressure and volume are expressed. Please remember and try to understand this. I am going to read it once again for you. The value of constant K1, my dear students, I am talking about the value of constant K1. The value of constant K1 depends upon the amount of gas and the temperature of the gas. And third thing is the units in which pressure and volume are expressed. So as we know that pressure P is equal to K1 into 1 upon V, we can write that PV is equal to K1. What does it mean? What is the meaning of this mathematical expression PV is equal to K1? The mathematical expression PV is equal to K1, it means the product of the pressure and volume of a fixed amount of gas is constant at constant temperature. Please remember, my dear students, the product of the pressure and volume of a fixed amount of gas is constant at constant temperature. I hope, my dear students, you understood the concept of the Boyle's law. So we can write Boyle's law with the two statements. The first statement is written with the black pen. I am reading it for you. At constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas varies inversely with the volume. Or the same law we can write in the another way. I am reading for you. The product of pressure and volume of a fixed amount of gas at constant temperature is constant. Once again, the